And we're here to talk about 2 years of ownership with the Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road package that I bought back in 2024. Just a couple, actually 2 days past was when I picked it up. So we're at 2 years, 2 days at this point.
And how did you celebrate its birthday?
I gave it a bath last weekend.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Wanted to make sure it was clean and looking good. As good as it could after all the scratches and things I put in it over time. It's all good though. No big deal. But welcome to the audience, and I really appreciate when people have questions. So part of the reason I'm doing this live stream and talking about the Tacoma, one is just it's a little bit easier to do live streams than it is to create the other content. That will come a little bit later in the month when we do a little bit of an overlanding trip at the end of March. Misty and I are going to go out, so I'll film a little bit more of a 2-year in review, shorter kind of video. More kind of put together there and kind of talk about some stuff as well. But my hope for this video or this live stream was to get some questions from people and give me some ideas of things they might want to see in that video a little bit more closely, that kind of thing. I also want to talk about the Falken Wildpeak AT4Ws because I've had those on the truck for 2 years now. And I think that was one of the videos that I had the most views on my channel. So, if we go back in time, we can talk about that a little bit. And then Brian has some questions for me as well. So we're going to try to answer some of that. But the first thing I really kind of want to know from viewers is if a politician that you hated, doesn't matter on either side. I'm not even like you, just somebody maybe not disliked. Let's not say hated. Hate is a strong word. A politician that you disliked was able to get a bill through that removed daylight savings. Would you just be like, okay, that person has a win for me? I'm really happy about that. Because for me, if we just never did daylight savings ever again, because there's really no purpose to it whatsoever other than making people lose sleep for a week and be cranky, maybe 2, I would be super happy if somebody got rid of that. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Brian, but I thought I'd bring up this question, right here in the beginning.
Well, I'm very much the peacemaker. So even if I disliked the politician that got it over the finish line there, I would still say thank you. I'd high five them. We don't need to embrace, but I can appreciate what they've done.
That's fair. That's fair. So somebody make this happen. I don't care who it is, but I'll put out a positive post about you on social media and say thank you or something. Maybe I'll make a video.
The ultimate attaboy.
Yeah, that's right.
Or attagirl.
That's right. Yes, or that. Anyway, we're here to talk about Tacoma. So hopefully everybody's week's going okay after the time change and everything. And then for those of you, few of you who don't make that change, I bet you're really happy right now. You're like, what are you talking about? So yeah, exactly. Let me grab this really quickly. Actually, this might be better. All right. So I just want to kind of go back in time to 2 years ago. This would have been a couple days before I picked up the Tacoma, but this is when it arrived on the lot in Colorado Springs, and I got my first eyes on the vehicle to be able to walk around and get into it, drive it for the first time. This was months and months after I had ordered it at this point, and months after I kind of decided, wow, you know what's crazy is look how small the tires look in there compared to what I have now. That's nuts. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's funny. And the tires really aren't that much bigger, but they look better than those do. But this was the first time I got a chance to kind of walk around the vehicle and check it out and, sit in it, drive it, that kind of thing. And I was, pretty excited by this point. But you pointed out that you had a question about this, right? Like, how we got to this point. Yeah.
You were looking at all sorts of different vehicles, and at one point in time, I was really excited because you were looking at Broncos and Jeeps, but you ultimately didn't go that direction. You liked the Tacoma overall. Now, if I remember correctly, when you actually purchased the vehicle and had to wait, did you have to wait longer because of a quality control issue? Was there a delay delivered?
Yeah, so I actually did have to wait A little bit. It was held. It was actually not held as long as some other people's were, but it was held at port for a QC issue, which I think had to do with a plug that wasn't waterproofed properly, and they had to fix that at the port, and then they sent it on. So I didn't have to wait as long as some people had to, but that was the quality control issue at that time. That was the problem. So
overall, it was a minor issue, and it really didn't cause too much grief as far as taking ownership goes.
yeah, it was a couple week delay, I think, at the end. So it wasn't a big deal at the time. It felt big because I just wanted a truck, man, But I also have to say, I'm just gonna go back and say this: like Toyota Colorado Springs is one, if not the best, and one of the best dealerships I've ever worked with buying a vehicle. It was the easiest process I've ever had. No hard pitches on anything. They let you test drive as much as you needed to. They were really easy to work with. So I do want to say that as well, because they were pretty awesome.
And along with that, being able to work with them as easily as you're saying, were they pretty transparent with the quality concerns, things like that, so that way you were kept in the know? You didn't feel like you were being not really pushed around, but kind of just kind of dodging the topic?
I mean, I would say that they were. I was probably better informed than they were about the problems, if I'm going to be 100% honest. So I would ask. I'd say, "Hey, I heard this thing," and they're like, "Hold on, we have to check it." And then they're like, "Yeah, I guess that's true," or whatever. So, but I was everywhere in forums and all that kind of stuff at that time. I was on the Toyota forum a ton at that, and I kind of stopped going since whatever point, even though I could probably be posting my content there and everything. I don't know why I haven't been back. I just haven't been back for quite a while. But yeah, I was a little bit better informed, I think, than some people were about what was going on there. And certainly than the dealership, who also sell all the models and all the makes, not just this one, so.
Okay. And then this vehicle also has over-air updates. So would you say the vehicle's actually better than when you took ownership?
Yeah, so one of the things I don't like about the Toyota experience thus far is that experience of
The over-the-air updates?
infotainment in general, I would say.
Okay.
All right, lane keep assist, all that kind of stuff, it's working just fine.
And
We're not going to go too far in this mode anyway, but yeah, keeping me in the center of the lane.
I have a couple of gripes.
So right now, your video you're showing is overshadowing.
I actually really like the digital rearview mirror. It's too bad I'm never going to be able to use it once we put our tent on and everything. But
like audio wise.
Yes, there we go.
There we go. Better. Okay, sorry.
Better.
Thank you. Yeah. So the overall quality of those things is great. The screen is great. Like how big it is, it's responsive. That stuff works really well. The wireless connections with Android Auto and CarPlay still not great. Never fixed. I've not received one update for the system since I've purchased the vehicle. I would have expected in 2 years they would have pushed some software update, but I haven't gotten anything. We have a question here in a second that I'll get to. The other thing is with the driver's display on the left-hand side, I normally have my tire pressures displayed, so I can just kind of track that, especially when I'm off-roading. I like to see that. But after 10 minutes, it goes blank. And this is before I set that all up, but it would be on the left-hand side. You'd be able to see the tire pressures. And you have to do this sort of menu trick to get it back up every time. It's a pain in the butt. It should just be there. All the other things stay exactly as they're supposed to. Like I set it up so it should just display, and it doesn't. And that's another software bug that has not been fixed in 2 years. And I've definitely reported it through a couple of different channels, and it just hasn't been fixed. So the CarPlay issue not updating, because it's a brand, it's one of their new systems, so that the wireless should work really well. The Sportage that I have, the Kia Sportage, I've used nothing but wireless in that vehicle and never had a problem. This one, you definitely have to be connected to the cable is the best way to go by far. Then it works fine. There's no problems, but wireless does not work great. So I'm still frustrated by those software things there, and they haven't actually improved the experience in 2 years.
Gotcha.
So the question was, is the 2024 better than the 2026? I think they're basically the same truck at this point. They haven't changed a whole lot. They probably have done a little bit of updates because Toyota's always pretty good at figuring out what what needs to be updated along the way to make the process better, to make sure the quality is better to the customer. I had the first year truck, so it's most likely that I'm going to have more problems. I did have a couple of different potential issues with the truck. One, I wasn't part of the recall for one thing, so I was okay there. But there was a recall for transmission, I think, and I was not part of that one. I had a couple of other small recalls for some things, and I don't even remember what they were because they were just so minor. They just did them, along with maintenance. But that's something you were going to have with pretty much any new model year vehicle. Nothing, it's never let me down. I've never had any major issues with it. It's been super reliable the entire time. So that part's good. So as far as is it better, I think they're basically the same truck, with the 26 having some refinements. If you could find a used 2024 or 2025 and save some money off the top, that's probably a really good way to go. But to me, they're about the same in terms of, vehicle wise. I don't think there's anything that makes the 2026 way better than the 2024. But they've changed some features around, that kind of stuff, but nothing crazy. Great question. If you had any specific questions too, put those in the chat. Appreciate that. So anyway, that's kind of that, but it's a good question about the software. As long as we're on things that I've been less happy with, there's one other feature actually I was just showing here a second ago. Let me get back to that. And that is this, the tailgate. I wish they had just made it a really nice dampened tailgate that would work under any circumstances, no matter what. My tailgate continues to be kind of a problem, the power tailgate, of it not wanting to open, and I have to wrench on it really hard to get it to open. And I do think it's the latch right over here on this side. I think this latch just gets caught for whatever reason. When I took it in the first time and they looked at it, they just took a rubber mallet and pounded on this up here, and it did get better for a little while, but they were claiming it was my problem because I had put the rack on top, and I had taken this part off here to put the stabilizer on, and we had the full, not even just a rack at that point, but the full Kuat enclosure. And so they were saying it's my fault, but I never touched that piece at all. So I was like, I don't think so. That's the biggest problem of annoyance. That's the only annoying feature that I have in the truck that I'm like, I wish they wouldn't have done that. That's the only thing. So I wish they would have had an option where you could have added a power tailgate and it didn't come with the premium package, or they just stopped doing that. I think people would have less problems with it personally. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else on the vehicle proper that I'd want to talk about there. I don't think so. Yeah. Any other questions, Brian, at this point?
You talk about the vehicle proper, and now you're showing images of, you obviously upgraded the tires right away. So we can kind of jump into some of the upgrades you've put into the vehicle, what you chose and why. But I'm curious, is there anything that you had to actually take out of the vehicle to make these enhancements, other than obviously the original tires?
No, everything's bolt on.
So everything's still basically factory.
Yeah, factory or attached directly to the I didn't have to make any modifications to attach the rock rails or that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And there may be the one upgrade that I still would like to do would be the suspension. I think I still would like to upgrade the suspension on it at some point to handle the weight a little bit better of everything. Mainly, that's the big thing. It's not that the suspension doesn't perform, but it doesn't bottom out quite a bit. But I've not had problems with it, like that being uncomfortable or anything like that. And I guess, what I'd probably point out too before we get into some of the mods, I have to say, comfort wise, super comfortable truck for somebody in my size for sure. So somebody who's 6'5" might feel different. But you've ridden in a truck before. I don't know what you think about it. You probably wouldn't want to ride in the back seat, but the front, either front seats, I think are super comfortable. You like your Jeep, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was been really happy with the comfort, the ride quality, even with the bigger tires. The road noise and everything's been really good. The the infotainment system and the safety systems have been awesome, like top notch. So like all that's been good other than the wireless Apple CarPlay issues. That's the only problem I've had there. And then the fact that I can't put my tire pressures up without having to do a little bit of work when I get in the vehicle. It's not a lot of work, but it would just be nice if it was just there. So those are really, those are about as minor of gripes as you can have about a vehicle, I think, quite truthfully. So it's been great. People have asked about power. Is there enough power in and I have the non-hybrid version, so I've got just a turbocharged 4-cylinder, plenty of power. The way the power is applied in the power band is great as well. It's not like you just it's really easy to get nice smooth power and get it very quickly. I've had no problems off-roading in low range or even high, just thinking like I don't have enough power or anything like that. That's just never happened. So I think all those things are really good. I'm really happy I got the premium package, liking that a lot. All the extra creature features there are great. I still kind of wish I would have gotten the stabilizer disconnect, just because I think it would have been a little bit better off-road, but also I haven't not been able to go somewhere that I wanted to go. So did I need it? Probably not. That's what I would say there. So all those things.
The incline?
Yeah.
What was the incline the last time we took your truck out on the road, went up on that hill?
It was over 30, as I recall.
I
was like, we were like, oh my God. Yes, I remember that. It was fun. That was good. Went out for a little hike. So yeah, so this engine, honestly, more than enough power, and I've had no problems with it. So that's good. The one other issue, though, I guess I could talk about that I've had, it's not an issue. I guess I would call it not great. But hold on, it's not this one. I think it was here when I kind of looked into the back end here, where the power comes in on the left-hand side of the bed. Now it's not going to load for me, obviously, but the weather stripping around that has come off. I mean, again, that's a minor thing, but the weather stripping around the cover for it has come off. So I don't know, kind of a super minor thing, but yeah. So got it 2 years ago, really liked the truck, and it started stock for about 3 days, and then modifications started to happen. So the first one, and this is one of the most watched videos that I have, is like, what's the difference between, Falken Wildpeak AT4Ws and the tires the BFGs that it comes with. And I really had a lot of fun in creating this video like a couple of days after I got it, because there was a 15-inch snowstorm that allowed me to get out and test out everything, which I thought was super fun. I would just say to people who buy the vehicle, the stock tires are pretty good. So they really aren't bad. The Wildpeak AT4Ws are they've never let me down once. They air down really well. Their grip amazing in all conditions. I haven't had any issues. I did start with stock size AT4Ws, and then about 6 months later, I did upgrade to a 33-inch. So I did go a little bit bigger, and I probably should have done that right away, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and so I wasted a bunch of money and bought sets of tires twice. But I also then added the method race wheels at that point too. So I think the truck looks pretty darn good. It's kind of my version of the Tacoma, which I like as well. But I've been really, really happy with the AT4Ws as tires, and I think that they've really done a nice job off-roading as well. So winter, wet, normal traction, just driving on the road, everything's really been pretty solid. So if people are wondering about those tires, I wouldn't hesitate at all, even a little bit, recommending those tires. There's lots of good tires out there, but these I think are awesome.
And this question isn't specific to those tires. You're going to have it anytime you change the tires in a vehicle. But how's the gas mileage been from the advertised gas mileage to what it is now? 2 years in, new tires.
The gas mileage did drop when I got the bigger set. So I think
which is to be expected regardless of the type of tires you get, because you got larger tires. Yeah.
Correct. So here's I guess I wasn't showing this and I thought I was. I should have just done in the window, but yeah, this is the tires out in the wintertime. Yeah, so the gas mileage with the original tires really didn't drop at all. They are slightly heavier than the stock tires were, but it really didn't impact MPG. Before I put the full tent back on and everything like that, with just either an enclosed cab or just a Kuat rack or running without any rack on the back at all, I was averaging around 17.8 to 18 something miles per gallon, running around town, that kind of stuff. Right now it's a little bit lower than that with the full, like basically I've got 300 pounds of gear on the vehicle at all times in the back. And it's also like a big sail with the tent on the back. So that's dropped it down to like 16 miles per gallon, something like that. Which I don't love, but you know, when you put a bunch of stuff on there, that's what's going to happen. So, that's kind of what that has been for me anyway. Yeah.
Still better than I get with my Jeep with all my stuff on there.
Yeah, yours was suffering, but that was with even bigger tires. So
that was, yes,
as I recall. Yeah. So the couple other things then that I've done was I added the Kuat. So you know, I went and got the original tires replaced by the stock size. Then later put on bigger ones, but then I also installed the Kuat rack on the back of the pickup truck myself, and I was able to do this all on my own. Really was super easy. This part, if you're just getting the rack and not the full enclosure, you can very easily do that by yourself without a problem. And I definitely would recommend that for any trucks, not just for a Tacoma. If you're looking for a very versatile rack that you can sometimes run in mid height, sometimes run in full height, if you want to put panels on the sides, if you want to completely enclose it, if you want to have a lot of options, the Kuat rack, there isn't another rack out there that I'm aware of that is that versatile. And it more than easily carries the, you know, a 300-pound tent or whatever load on the top. So that's also great, but it's super lightweight other than that. So I love that system. It's super good. I'm not an ambassador for them anymore. So I'm not like, I never really blew smoke about them either way. I was genuinely impressed with them. It was what I was going to buy no matter what. And I just happened to be lucky enough to be an ambassador for them. But I would highly recommend that for any pickup truck if you're looking for, you know, a rack. And that's kind of what it looks like on the truck in the half rack format. When we kind of went out for a nice little ride and took Rue out. Rue's got to be in every video. I feel like it's just, she has to show up. So there she is. But that's what it looked like.
That's a rack you would get even if you didn't do overlanding. Like if you did any kind of outdoor work or outdoor play, that's something that would be beneficial.
Yep, 100%. If you need a rack, if you have a need for a rack, I'd put that on for sure. If you don't need a rack, then don't buy one. Like, save some money, it's totally fine. But if you're off-roading and definitely overlanding, you need something on the back of the pickup, most likely, unless you're pulling the trailer with all your stuff or whatever. But I've really liked the Kuat system. And then you can kind of see here, you know, what it looked like when we had it installed. The one thing I have to say that I'm disappointed in is that 4x4 Colorado no longer exists. So I love that tent. I absolutely love the tent and the people at 4x4 Colorado, but they went out of business because of the tariffs. So they really got hit hard by the tariffs and ended up going out of business, couldn't keep up with the pricing and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate. Because I knew you've been in my tent. I don't know. I know you like your tent too, but it's a pretty nice tent, I would say. You know.
Yes, you have a very nice tent.
Yeah. Super comfortable, and yeah, this is kind of what it looks like all kitted out. You know, with the Kuat rack now in a full height at this point, all the accessories and everything. And Rue and I, this is I think the maiden voyage of everything at this point. Rue and I went out and did a nice overnight out in the woods for. Just testing everything out. It was great. You can also kind of see what everything looks like here in terms of being all packed up and everything. So there's more than enough space to fit everything. I used to take way more things than I needed overlanding, and I've started to figure out, you know, exactly what I need, even for multiple days. So, yeah. Gonna have some action shots now if we want, I guess. So. Yeah, I mean, did a couple other things I did at this point. I actually bought the Trail Hunter rock sliders and put those on from the Trail Hunter edition of the Tacoma. They bolted on in like 10 minutes. That was maybe 20. It was really, really easy. That was super easy. Trying to think what else at this point I would have done. Not too much. I also upgraded the one thing that the one thing I was disappointed, which may be different in 2026 model, but I don't know, is that the turn signals in the off-road version, even the premium, were regular light bulbs and not LEDs, and it was like the only light in the entire vehicle that wasn't an LED. So I put some last fit LED bulbs in, and I like those quite a bit. Those, and it was a really easy modification as well. Again, didn't have to do anything for that. Just put some new tow hooks on the front of the Tacoma just a couple weeks ago. So that was another I guess the two upgrades I've done most recently were, where did it go? Oh, here we go. Oh, I did billet tie-downs too. So I put those in the back of the vehicle. Also a nice, easy upgrade. And I do like those, although the ones closest to the tailgate sometimes get in the way of my TMAT system a little bit, making it kind of hard to slide because they're chunkier. But these are pretty sweet as well. I don't even have any links in this video. I'm just talking about stuff today. I'm not even asking you to buy anything or anything. Just watch the video and enjoy. I'll probably put the links in. If people ask for them, I'll put them in.
So you haven't done a particular upgrade, but I'm curious whether or not you have any interest in even looking into it. And that would be basically like a front brush guard, heftier bumper.
So actually, I did look at. I had plans to upgrade the bumper with the. Oh man, what was the company? I can see the logo in my head. Let's see. Oh man, I feel bad because I love the company as well. They were super cool. It just didn't work out last year for me to go get it. But they had a bumper that I was going to put on what had a winch in it. It would have been steel. So okay. I thought about that. Oh, the other upgrade you can see right here, actually, which is kind of good, is I also put in the Trail Hunter skid plates underneath for the front part, which were
you can see that there.
Not any heavier really than the stock plates, but they were, they're fully metal versus like the other ones I think were plastic. So that was a nice upgrade too. That didn't cost a whole lot and was really easy to do. And then this last upgrade I did here was the tow hooks. I just put some red tow hooks on from Lexland. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And then the other really big upgrade that I've done is the TMAT system. This is one, it doesn't matter who you are, you should just buy this. And I'll put the link for this one in when we're done, because I can save you some money on it if you use the links a lot of the time. So this is the TMAT bed slide. If you own a truck, just buy this. You won't be unhappy that you bought it, because you can get stuff from the front to the back of your vehicle without a problem, especially if a cap on or something like that. But then you can also basically tie everything down, or not tie everything down, but kind of put everything in place with little X blocks, or they have a ton of other accessories too for things like buckets. They can hold crates. There are a couple of they have a new cooler out that I just saw, which is kind of cool. It's got some wheels on it, so that would work with their wheel chocks, where you can kind of put it into that area and it kind of locks it into place with the wheel chocks, which is cool.
So
and it does a really good job.
Where they can anchor in place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look a little bit later here in the video, you can see some of that a little bit here. Maybe as I'm putting that in. Yeah, you can see that. Hopefully it loads here for us. So these just kind of help keep things right in place, and they're really not going to go anywhere. Even if you didn't tie them down, you can if you want still, but they're not sliding anywhere because they're up against the back and they're not coming forward either, which is pretty cool. And they have a bunch of different of those modules. Some of them are adjustable because sometimes they don't quite fit exactly where you want, but then you can adjust. The adjustable ones are pretty great because they get you right to where you need to be. So there they are right there, the adjustable ones. Yeah, so if you have a truck, that's just it doesn't matter what truck, just buy it. That's what I'd say. So that's probably the last big upgrade that I did in the truck. And I think we did a big giveaway with the company I'm thinking of too. So I'm just trying to see if I can, there it is. Aha, Adventure More. Ha ha ha. That's what I was thinking of. So Adventure More these are the bed stiffeners that I installed, and super good. Those are really nice, easy to install. Again, they just bolted in, which was nice. And they have a bunch of other equipment as well for Tacomas and 4Runners. So they've got rock rails, they've got bumpers, they've got skid plates, like really, really good, super thin, but still super strong skid plates. So Adventure Moore's another great company that I would recommend if you get a 4Runner Tacoma too. And Devos Light Ranger lights, those are great. So anyway,
I'm using mine right now.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I got my other one right over here. So anyway, those are the big upgrades I did over the year, over the course of the last year or so. If you're wondering what we've all done with it, let's see here. I was hoping it was going to actually have, when I searched for it, it was going to give me I can go back and find it. The flat tops is probably the big one. Part 2 is probably the one that has the most stuff in it. So, we went on some pretty serious trail, like some pretty decent trails. I would say they're serious. Like a van made it through. So were they the most serious trails in the world? No, but most people would not have taken a van on that trail, I would say. And the van made it as far as we needed it to, but my truck, they made it through, but I think they had a much less fun time. I made it through and you made it through in the Jeep, and there was never a problem. The only reason we stopped was because of a mud hole that we didn't know the depth of, and it wasn't worth getting the van stuck through that. I think the truck would have made it without a problem. The Jeep would have made it without a problem.
The Jeep did make it through without a problem the next day.
The Jeep did make it the next day through, yep, without a problem.
Yep.
So I think, I wasn't worried about the truck getting stuck, but I was definitely worried about the van getting stuck for sure. So, we did some fun driving on this trip, and it's been on some other pretty gnarly trails as well, just trying to find camping sites, that kind of thing. And the last trip that Misty and I were on this fall, we got up to like a 10,000 foot peak, and we drove back down on a harder trail, and that trail there was some pretty big rocks and things. Again, never had a problem. I've certainly used my skid plates a little bit. There's no doubt about that, but yeah, I mean, it's gone where we wanted to. And my goal with my Overland build in the truck was to be able to go where 80 to 85% of people couldn't go, not to go where 100% of people couldn't go, because I wasn't going to spend $100,000 on upgrading my vehicle to go anywhere, right? And be able to take the things we need to enjoy camping, that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is Brian's vehicle there, the Jeep that you're seeing in here. That's Brian's vehicle if you haven't watched before.
With my Intrepid 2.5.
Yeah, your Intrepid 2.5, which you like, except it fell off your vehicle. That's the only problem.
It didn't fall off.
Almost.
My roof rack broke. You got to bring this up every time. But that's why I'm doing one of my upgrades, which we'll talk about in a different video.
Yes. So that was a big trip last year or 2 years ago.
2 years
was it
ago
2 years ago? Holy crap. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because last year I didn't get to go out because we moved. We only got the one trip, which was basically, let's see if I can find some of that here. I feel like I put some of that, must be towards the end here. Yeah, so this was the last trip that we took, Misty and I, and went down in southern Utah to all the parks, but we overlanded instead of, stayed in hotels or in like campgrounds, that kind of thing, and had a blast, took everything we needed with us, and really, really enjoyed ourselves. So this was that trip. I haven't done a video per se about that one yet. Misty and I had some ideas of what we wanted to do for video. We've just never done it, which happens more often than you might think. You film stuff, go, I'm going to make a video about this, and then it just doesn't exactly happen. But that one was pretty fun. We had a couple different, this is a different campsite from the next night, or a different night, a previous night from that one actually, and a little more, foliage here, but again, none of the trails were super difficult, but the truck handled everything, made it really comfortable. And one of the things I think I've learned, like, as a tip for people, is just like airing down your tires makes a big difference. So being able to air them down, air them up really quickly is a good thing.
And that's with your roof rack, or not your roof rack, I'm sorry, your Kuat at full height and with the enclosure?
That's, yep, full height with the enclosure there, yep.
Okay.
And this is the drone going, oh, I don't know what to do. I've lost you. I think I had to get out here. Misty was trying to drive the drone, and I was like, "Oh, let's just you drive the truck, and I'll drive the drone." But anyway, so I don't see any more questions in the chat, but I would love if people had any more. We'll give you a couple more minutes here, but otherwise, like that's the long and the short of it at this point. The Tacoma, I think for most people, and they have a large range of vehicles too. So I think the Off-Road is a very popular model, but it still rides really good. I think that the Bilstein suspension on that, for if you're not, even if you are overlanding, it works just fine, right? So that's going to be good, but it's still good on the road. And for people who hunt or just spend a little bit of time out in the wilderness, that kind of thing, that's going to be more than enough truck for you, and you're going to be very happy with it. What level of tech you want, that's up to you. Some people hate the 14-inch screen. I'm going to tell you, I don't hate it at all. So you can decide, on that, what you think of it or whatever, but I don't hate it even a little bit. I think it shows all the things you need to see, and it makes it really easy to follow your navigation and see all your information. So I particularly like it quite a bit. The only other upgrade I wish they would have done, that I think you're starting to see more on newer vehicles, is a lot of vehicles. So now that they have this digital display for the driver, I do wish that they wouldn't use plastic in front of that and just made it a screen like the touch screen, so it's easier to clean. It doesn't scratch so easy, because that plastic in front of that scratches so easy when you try to clean it, and it gets dusty all the time if you're out in the wilderness, so that becomes a problem. So that's something I wish maybe they would do different in future versions, and just stop putting that stupid plastic crap in front of the digital displays. Analog, I understand why they did that, but for digital, it makes no sense. Yeah.
Well, I have two questions.
All right.
Real quick.
Yeah.
The first one has to do with I'm pretty sure it's part of the tech package, but you basically have like a plug-in or something like that in the truck bed itself, to access to power. How often does that actually come in handy? Because I know you have a lot of like power banks and solar panels, things like that. So do you actually use that source?
So in the back of the bed, you have two sources. On the right-hand side, you have a regular 110 outlet, so you can plug in something that way. On the left-hand side, you have like a cigarette port, and then a USB-C, I believe, there. I've used all of them at different times, but I generally hook my my fridge to the DC cigarette light port through my batteries. So that cigarette lighter port goes to my battery system that I leave in the bed of the truck, and then that charges keeps the refrigerator running. That way, when I shut the truck off, because when you shut the truck off, the power gets cut to those things. So if I left it plugged into that, then the refrigerator would kick off, which isn't a big deal for the most part, but I'd rather keep it going. So that way I keep my batteries topped up while I'm driving, and then also power the fridge. And that has come in handy quite a bit. So I do like that a lot. The one big advantage to the hybrid model, so you can kind of see like the fridge is over here in the left, and that's where I power everything, and then the batteries you can't see at the moment. But the big advantage to the hybrid model is you get a 2400 watt power outlet, which is much better, obviously, and you can have power kind of all the time from that outlet, where you can't do that with the gas model. So if you really want power from that system, then the hybrid model is a great way to go that way. It's not going to get you a lot in gas mileage. It'll give you some, but not as much, for sure. So Hey, Mark, how's it going? What's up? We're just talking Tacoma, tires, off-roading, and other topics that we meander our way through. If you have any questions, let us know. We'd love to answer them. So that was question number one. So I do use those ports regularly, but mostly the DC power. But having them in the truck bed is super handy. I love that.
So then my second question then has to do with, okay, so you've had this for 2 years now. You've put X amount of miles on it. Do you subscribe to the 10,000 miles every oil change, or do you prefer to get your oil changed and do different maintenance at other set increments?
So I definitely did an oil change at 5,000 miles because this was a new truck with a new engine configuration for them. There were problems with the Tundra engine which made me kind of concerned about things. So I felt like that was something I probably should do. And everything was fine, which was good. And then I did oil change at 10,000 again. So I'm doing it right now about every 5,000. But there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, the truck 5,000 is actually a pretty long time for this truck because once I moved to Utah, I bought a second vehicle for traveling to work because I have about a 35-mile commute. And while this truck was super comfortable for going to work, it was very economical for going to work. And the Sportage, which is a hybrid, I get like 40 miles per gallon in that, and versus 16. So this doesn't get used nearly as much. It's basically a weekend truck when we go get groceries, and then when we do our bigger trips and that kind of thing. So it's probably good to change it every 5,000 miles just because it sits a little bit longer. I'd be okay with 7,500, I think, too, but 10,000 is a little bit long.
So you don't use this as your daily driver much anymore now that you've got the commuter vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. I would like your opinion of the truck too. Like, you've spent some time in it, not, lots and lots of time, but enough time, so what is your opinion of for a mid-sized truck? You probably don't have a ton of experience with trucks in general, whatever, but yeah.
I mean, to use that as the jumping off point to answer your question, I've never owned a truck.
Yep.
I've always driven sedans up until I got my Jeep here a few years back, and I'm loving the Jeep. But that said, your truck is nice. I mean, it's super comfortable. It's quiet, like you were talking about. I'm kind of a tech guy as well, and it's got all sorts of fun bells and whistles in it. I was definitely surprised when you took me for that first drive, and you kind of hit the gas a little bit just to show me how quickly you could get from 0 to 60. Because you said it was like a 4-cylinder turbo. So I was like, well, how fast can it actually go? And you showed me how fast it could actually go. So the get up and go was nice on it, and it stayed smooth the whole time. So I'm very impressed with your vehicle.
I appreciate that.
I don't know if I'd ever own a truck myself yet, because like I said, I haven't owned one yet. I definitely borrow one from time to time, but it would end up being kind of like a secondary vehicle that never got used other than to run the occasional errand, buy some lumber, things like that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you use your Jeep every day and it gets about the same gas mileage. So if you traded it in for a truck, it would be basically the same.
Yes, you are not incorrect, but I like my Jeep.
These are the last fit turn signals, basically. So that's what those look like.
When you switched them to LEDs?
Yeah. So much brighter. Yeah, so I guess at this point, I don't have a lot more to say about it. Paint-wise, I guess if people are interested in that. I think the paint's held up really well considering how many trees I brushed up against. I did have the one incident where I might have backed into a tree and broke my taillight. That did happen. But the cool part about that is that while the taillight assembly is expensive, it's really easy to replace. It's like $500, but it took me like 10 minutes to replace it. So that part was nice. But the paint overall has held up really, really well, given this has been a truck that's been out in the woods and in tighter trails. I haven't done a number on it yet where I've just really wreck the paint, but there's a couple scratches here and there. But it's holding up pretty good. It looks really good when it's washed. I can tell you that. Still really liking how it looks. I actually like the silver color better than I thought I was going to. I was kind of hoping for the green, but I actually really like silver quite a bit.
I think you just answered the next question I was going to ask. Because I mean, obviously, if you were to do this all over again, you'd probably still go with the Tacoma. I don't know 2 years ago if there was a different vehicle that really reached the top of your list like the Tacoma did. But I was curious if you liked the color or not, if you would have preferred a different color. But it sounds like you answered that.
Yeah, I like the color. I think the green would have been good too. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, color is just preference for people, I think. So I think that's the big thing there. Like I liked it. Like I like the silver, but I would have liked the green. Black would have been okay. Orange wouldn't have even been horrible necessarily. But generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with the silver, to be truthful. Like this is the white one that I drove, and that was fine. I wouldn't buy white, I don't think, but
That's the one thing I don't care for with my Jeep is the white. It just looks dirty all the time, and you're constantly wiping it down.
Yes. I was trying to see if I know I talked about it, but I don't think I took any video of, so I'm just going to stop sharing here for a little bit. But, the big thing is, so when I knew the Tacoma was coming out, I know, Toyota's reputation is amazing. We have a question. Let's answer that first.
Sounds good.
Questions come first. Questions become before anything else. Do you have it ceramic coated? If so, with what product? In fact, I do have it ceramic coated, and I did so with the DIY Detail 5-year coating a couple of weeks after I got it. And I will have an update video coming very shortly on that after 2 years and see how it's holding up. Maybe there was some spoiler there. It looks like it's pretty good still, but we're gonna talk about that and a couple other things in a video. So I did the DIY Detail product on that one. I've used the Clean by Pan 8-year on a different vehicle, and that worked great. And then I have the Type 2 3-year, 8-year stack from DIY Detail on the Sportage, which I just put on, and that looks amazing, the black paint. And they just, Type 1 was out and like stopped being made sometime in like June, I want to say, last year. Type 2 came out for them, and Type 3 is now out. So they've already like leapt a couple of evolutions in their coatings. What I say about all of that is all of those were really easy to apply, but I've had absolutely zero problems ever with any of the DIY Detail products, and I've applied those to several vehicles. So I would recommend that for people for sure. And I think if you put those on, you'll be happy. And which one you choose doesn't really matter. They're all really good. Yeah. So here we go. Oh, all right. Let's see. DIY Detail 5-year V2 sitting on the shelf. Black Friday.
Sitting on the shelf unused?
Yes. So you got it Black Friday. It hasn't been warm enough to depending on where you live, it's maybe still got 9 feet of snow from the snow that's happened, or tornadoes just happened yesterday. Who knows? It's been kind of crazy weather, but yeah, I mean, just follow the process, take your time with it, and it's super easy to do, and you'll be really happy that you did it. And it's crazy how well that stuff performs for years and years and years, versus like you can do a spray instead, and that's fine. But I really like that product. And again, like I said, I've used the Clean by Pan, also a great product. I would recommend that to anybody as well. I've used a couple other products. Glassparency was another one that I used a number of years ago, but there's like 10,000 really good coatings these days that are all pretty awesome. So yeah, yep. Waiting to apply V2, and then V3 came out. Yes, I think the difference between 5-year V2 and V3 is maybe not as big as the difference between 8-year V2 and V3. So you will not be unhappy with the 5-year V2. So forget that they launched it and just apply it, and you'll be happy. That's what I would say. Just don't have the fear of missing out in that regard. That was a great question. I appreciate that one.
And then what's the product that you put on your windshields? Because that always impressed me.
Yeah, so I used 2 different products. The one that you experienced on our ride back in the storm was diamond coatings, diamonds nanoglass coating,
Diamond Santa glass.
and or diamond glass. Sorry, diamond glass from Nanotech, I think it's called.
Oh,
Diamond
okay.
Nanotech. Diamond Nanotech, diamond glass. There's like lots of words in that one. So that's the one that I put on there. That was really easy to apply. And then on my other vehicles, I have the C6 Hydro Glass, and that's also performed really, really well. So both of them are good. There's also a number of really good glass coatings out there, but Hydro Glass is pretty expensive in comparison. So if you want something less expensive, I think the Nanotech stuff is a little bit less expensive. And then I know there's a couple other ones that are less expensive too, and you do have to reapply those more often because they get abraded from your windshield wipers when you use them. So they tend not to last as long as like something under paint. So you can kind of go a bunch of different ways, but Hydro Glass has been great. It's just more expensive. I was saying something about the Tacoma, but I don't remember. Oh, how did I arrive at the Tacoma? We talked a little bit maybe about this in the beginning, but basically I knew the Tacoma was coming out. I knew that Toyota had very good reliability. And so I was like, well, it's gonna be hard pressed to fall down on that. I had test driven the third gens, and I liked the trucks, but I didn't love them. I think the ride quality was good, but I really hated how unresponsive the engine was and transmission. I did not enjoy driving those when I did it. I actually rented one, and I took my mom for her birthday present. I took her out in Colorado to go leaf peeping, and we got on a really gnarly trail, and the truck performed amazing on the trail. But then we got back to the highway and I needed to get in front of traffic, and it was not a fun experience. And I was like, I don't think this would be something I would love to drive every day. But it had a bulletproof V6 engine that was going to last forever. So that was the advantage to it.
If I remember correctly, yeah, you were talking about there was a slight delay when you would push down the gas.
Yeah, the transmission was slow to respond. It shifted gear, it hunted for gears, and it was not responsive. It's not terrible, but it wasn't fun to drive at all. The funny part is Misty, she hates vehicles. She doesn't have any interest in like whatever. Does it have wheels and drive and cool? She drove the third gen because we looked at it when we put the money down on the fourth gen. The day we did that, I said, well, let's drive the third gen and just make sure because we can save $5,000-$10,000 if we buy this one right here or whatever. And she drove it. She's like, this just seems old. She's like, it drives okay, but all the tech and stuff just seems old. And I said, okay, good, we're on the same page here. So even she was like, yeah, this is a little bit long in the tooth. We drove those, but I also had driven the GMC Canyon, the Colorado, which I was really interested in both of those, like either one of those. I was really like excited about them. They were fun to drive. They were pretty decent trucks. But I didn't like that everything was kind of in the screen. Some weird things were there. There was just some stuff with the screen I didn't like as much, even though I think the tech is good in those. It turns out they have had a fair number of issues as well. After launch, they had some problems with things. So I kind of was happy I didn't go that direction. I also drove the Frontier. And I liked that truck quite a bit as well, but it didn't have quite as much tech. It didn't have a 360-degree camera, and that was something I really wanted on a truck. So that it was kind of at the end of its life cycle before they refreshed it when I drove it. So I was like, okay, it's a nice truck, but not quite what I'm looking for there. And then I'm trying to think. And then I wanted to test drive the Ranger before I bought the Tacoma because I actually thought I was going to like that vehicle a lot. And I didn't get to test drive it until you and I did. That was the first time I was able to test drive it. It happened to be a Ranger Raptor, which I very much enjoyed driving. It was super comfortable. So I think I would have enjoyed the Ford, but I did not love the vertical screen there. That was not my favorite. It's a big screen, but I didn't love that part of it. So personally, I'm really happy with the choice I made. I've had very few recall issues, or there's one open recall for something with the infotainment or whatever, which is fine. If maybe they'll fix that issue that I said that I had with the tire pressures not showing up sometimes. But really, it's been rock solid. It's been fun to drive. There's more than enough power for me. Some people need more power. Go buy a Ranger Raptor, right? That's what you need in a small truck. Go do that. But I didn't need that, or buy the hybrid version if you need that. But I just got enough. So that's how we got there. I also then drove a Bronco not long before delivery on the Tacoma, because I was like, well, if there's problems with this stuff, do I want to do that or not? I'm not sure. And the Bronco I drove was used, and it was well used. And it was like not a great experience. And I was like, this is loud as heck. It's terrible or whatever. And then you and I drove a brand new one later on. I was like, oh, well, I could have bought this. This would have been fine. So, but I think I'm still happier with the truck, to be honest, overall. But I almost got Bronco. So
looks like we got another question too.
Yep. So not an overlander, more of a detail enthusiast. Have you tried the Sideo crates? If so, do you prefer the quarter, half, or full, or collapsible in either detailing or overlanding? So the Sideo crates, I have tried the ones that are sort of made, they're not collapsible in this case, that are made for the TMAT system. So the ones that come with that, I've tried those. I like them. I don't use them as much as some other things, and partially because as an overlander, anything that has anything open in it is going to get dust in it. Even with an enclosed cap, you're going to get some dust into the truck bed. And if the Sideo crates have a place for you to grab on them and move things around, and dust will get in there, so everything was going to be dirty. And so that's the reason why I don't use them as much, but I think they're really good. So if you don't run into that problem where you're going to have that, they're excellent because you can see what's in them because the tops are clear. I like that a lot. They even have like a measuring tape, for lack of a better word, along the sides, so you can kind of measure stuff with it, which is kind of cool. So I could see my dad having like that, going, oh, does this crappie? Yep, that crappie meets. Let's keep that thing. So he might use it for something like that. Also for tools, or you need a quick measurement on something. I think it's pretty nice. So I do like those crates, and I like the system that they have to lock them into the TMAT too. That just like fits perfectly with it, so that it's not going to move at all, which I like as well. So that's my experience with those crates specifically. I know they have other ones, but that's the only one I've tried.
So they're weather resistant with the lid, but not dust resistant.
They're not weather resistant either because of, again,
they advertise themselves as weather resistant with the lid.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if it's raining straight down, but if it has, the ones that have the handles in them, like I wouldn't call that weather resistant. I think they do seal pretty well on the top. That part's nice. So maybe that's what they're kind of referring to there, but I wouldn't say that they're weather resistant because of the handles are completely open. So like any sideways rain would get in. So the tops are probably really good. Maybe that's what they're saying. Tops are weather resistant, even if the crate's not. But then I would say, well, is it really weather resistant?
Looks like they have some full-size ones that are just solid-sided, so they don't have the grid system.
Yeah, that would be different. Yeah, so that would 100% change my answer there. The half and the collapsible has a side door that will open, allowing access to the interior without taking the lid off. So that is nice, and that for overlanding too would be great, because a lot of times you just want to leave. You want to be able to get into stuff, but you don't want to have to pull it out, and they can kind of leave it all packed in. So it's great for that kind of thing. And I could also see where it would be great for drying towels or detailing stuff as well. 100%. Yeah, those are they're good. Well, that's kind of what we have. We've gone an hour. I didn't think we were going to go an hour, to be honest. I wasn't really sure where we're going to end up, but it's been fine. I appreciate people coming in and dropping in the comments. I've been talking all day because we had an open house today for the current students for our new programs at WGU. So I had to talk with them and talk about the new programs and everything. So there was a lot going on there. My voice is ready to be rested, I think, at this point. What I will do, though, as I said, Misty and I are planning an overlanding trip at the end of the month, and we'll do an update video together there, because she can give her thoughts on the truck a little bit and what she's enjoyed about it and anything she might not have, other than the price. That's generally the big thing. And I think that's the other thing too. The Toyota trucks they're expensive. And what it's worth is up to you. Like there was a lot of war going on of when I bought the truck of people saying, well, that's too, I can't believe you paid that for that version of that truck when you could have got a Colorado for this. But it's so hard to compare the models because they none of across the line, the Ranger is probably the closest comparison because the Chevys, unless you want to you either go like Trail Boss, which didn't have any of the features that I wanted really. So it was cheaper, but it doesn't have anything I wanted. So I didn't want the truck. Or you went all the way up to the ZR2, which was great, but that was just as expensive as what I bought. So more features, it had some more features, that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's kind of how it went. So buy what you want. I like the Tacoma. If you like trucks that are that size, I would recommend going and test driving them all and deciding which one you want to buy. But from an owner perspective, I've enjoyed owning it, and I'm glad I bought it. And that's how I would end tonight's live stream.
So you'd say do your research.
You should always do your research. Don't just trust some local yokel on YouTube telling you to buy the truck. You should go out and actually test drive the thing and some other ones and decide where you want to go. Some people have just super brand loyalty too. I am not that person. If I was going to go buy a truck next week, I would go drive every single truck again just to make sure. That's what I would do. And the hard part for you is you can't just go drive different brands of Jeep.
Right.
I could choose the expensive Jeep or the more expensive Jeep. Or a Jeep with a bed.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, I've got the 2-door, the 4-door, and the Gladiator. Beyond that, you've got the Sport, the Sahara, and then you've got like the Willie, and why am I blanking on the big one?
That's one you have, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So less fun, but you could. I guess the Bronco is the competitor, and you liked that. So I've tried to get you to buy one, but you won't do it.
There's a soft spot in my heart for the Jeep.
It's fair. Well, thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight. Those of you who have viewed even 5 minutes of this or threw in a question, appreciate you very much. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and may the weather get better for everyone, and may Utah get a lot of rain, or we're going to be in trouble.
Enough rain.
Or snow. We could get 3 or 4 feet of snow in the next month, and it'd probably be a good thing. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and remember to live your life in beta.